German minister confirmed that Russia is stockpiling weapons. Russia announced the destruction of the Hawk air defense system provided by the US to Ukraine. Ukraine says a major offensive by Russian armed forces is about to begin. Sweden plans civil defense in case conflict spreads in Europe. German minister confirmed that Russia is stockpiling weapons. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius said that the Russian defense industry has expanded production, exceeding the needs for the military campaign in Ukraine. Pravda news agency quoted German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius as saying that Russia is producing weapons and ammunition beyond the needs for Moscow's military campaign in Ukraine, allowing Moscow to stockpile. What military and weapons experts say is that Russia is expanding weapons production. Much of what is being produced is not being sent to the front lines, but is being put into storage, he said. He declined to comment on whether Russia would be preparing to attack NATO territory in a few years. However, he emphasized, in such a case, we can defend ourselves. That is why we are currently making every effort to properly equip the armed forces in Europe, within NATO. Recently, many Western officials have tried to drum up support for additional aid to Ukraine by claiming that Russia will not stop if Ukraine is defeated on the battlefield. However, Russian President Vladimir Putin rejected these speculations. Previously, Polish President Andrzej Duda warned that Russia was pushing to switch to a wartime economy to have enough capacity for a conflict with NATO around early 2026 or 2027. These speculations sparked worry about the risk of the Ukraine conflict spreading throughout Europe, becoming a direct confrontation between Russia and NATO. Russia destroyed the Mi-23 Hawk air defense system, Ukraine's unmanned aircraft warehouse. TPO, the Russian Ministry of Defense said that in the past 24 hours, the country's military destroyed the Hawk air defense system provided by the US to Ukraine and a warehouse storing drones in the Special Operations Zone. Russian tactical aviation, missile, and artillery forces destroyed the US-made Mi-23 Hawk air defense missile system, and also hit a drone depot of the Defense Brigade Ground No. 113 as well as destroying many military equipment of the Ukrainian armed forces in 115 areas, the Russian Defense Ministry's announcement stated. Also according to the ministry, on April 24, Russian air defense systems shot down a Ukrainian Tochka-U tactical missile, 6 HIMARS missiles, 4 French-made Hammer-guided bombs and 104 machine guns. Drone. It is known that this is the first time the Russian Ministry of Defense has confirmed the destruction of Mi-23 Hawk since they were put into use by Ukraine. Mi-23 Hawk is a medium-range air defense missile system designed and developed by the American company Raytheon, and has been in use since 1960. This system has been upgraded through 3 stages of modernization. A typical Mi-23 Hawk Phase 3 battery includes an MPQ-50 radar, N/MPQ-62 continuous wave surveillance radar, 2 N/PQ-61 illumination radars, and a fire distribution center. A target transceiver and 6 launchers with 18 missiles. The Mi-23 Hawk system was originally designed to attack aircraft, then upgraded to intercept missiles. The first versions of this air defense system had a range of 25 kilometers and an altitude of up to 14 kilometers. After modernization, the maximum target interception range was increased to 40 kilometers, with a maximum interception altitude of 18 kilometers. Major attack scenarios likely to be launched by Russia in Ukraine. Many military experts predict that Russia will launch a major attack in Ukraine in the near future, and outline scenarios that Moscow may apply in this attack. Since March, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said more than once that Russia is about to launch a large-scale attack in Ukraine, possibly starting in May or June this year. Ukrainian experts and military officials now say the offensive could begin sooner than expected. According to the Kyiv Independent, all eyes are now on the Bakhmut axis as the Russian army gradually advances towards the city of Chasiv Yar, only about 10 kilometers west of the city of Bakhmut. Chasiv Yar is located on high ground and is used as a gathering point and forward artillery base for the Ukrainian army. This city was heavily bombarded by Russian troops. Military expert Rob Lee, senior fellow in the Eurasian program of the Institute for Foreign Policy Studies, said, Chasiv Yar is located on high ground. If Russia can capture this city, they can speed up the advance, deep into Ukraine. Ukraine's military recently warned that Russia has set a goal of capturing Chasiv Yar before May 9, when Russia celebrates Victory Day, a holiday marking Moscow's victory over Nazi Germany in World War II. Frontline situation. Commander-in-Chief of the Ukrainian Army, Mr. Oleksandr Syrsky, said on April 13 that the situation on the front line had worsened significantly in recent days, as dry weather had created favorable conditions for air attacks. Russian armored vehicles on the Eastern Front. According to Mr. Syrsky, recent attacks have focused on the Bakhmut, Lyman and Pokrovsk regions. As the weather improves, Russia is expected to further increase its offensive on the Eastern Front, but it remains unclear whether it will focus on a specific area or apply pressure on multiple fronts, according to experts. Western military experts and Ukraine. Under what scenario can Russia attack? According to Reuters news agency, Sergei Markov, former Kremlin advisor, predicted that for Russia the battle for Chasiv Yar will be very difficult. The period of fighting for Chasiv Yar has begun. The war will continue for a long time and will take place like in Bakhmut, he commented. Sweden's civil defense plan for widespread conflict in Europe. Sweden is strengthening civil defense, especially plans to ensure energy security in times of crisis. According to Bloomberg on April 24, the abandoned power plant in Malmö's northern harbor has become a symbol of Sweden's preparations for an uncertain future. The power plant near the Öresund Strait was previously expected to be dismantled and transferred to a new owner abroad. But the conflict in Ukraine has upended Sweden's defense policy and forced the country to rethink its energy security plans. With the Swedish capital near the city of St. Petersburg than Berlin, Germany, this Nordic country of 10 million people is in a state of challenge, and NATO's newest member says it must be ready if conflict spreads across the Baltic region. As a result, Sweden's power grid operator wants the facility in Malmö back online so it can ensure supply to the country's third-largest city in the event of a power outage following an attack on its infrastructure. National energy. Hopefully we won't be in a situation where we have to use these capabilities, said Michael Nielsen, plant manager, but preparation to be ready for every situation is necessary. In addition to strengthening its military, which was downsized after the Cold War when Sweden believed in a peaceful future, the country needs to upgrade its ports, roads, rail network, hospitals and bunkers. Hidden. Sweden's energy supply, a mix of nuclear, hydro and wind, is particularly vulnerable due to its geographical location. Some 16,000 kilometers of power lines connect manufacturing plants in the north with major cities in the south through dense forests. That makes Sweden's power grid more vulnerable to sabotage than those in many other European countries, and the country must prepare for disruption, according to Vera van Zoest, a senior lecturer at the National Defense University. Sweden. Critical infrastructure, such as power grids, are often prime targets during periods of conflict, said expert van Zoest. Ms. Zoest cited the situation in Ukraine, where Russia has attacked and destroyed more than half of Kyiv's energy facilities since the conflict broke out in February 2022, according to the World Bank, causing cities to often inside the dark. However, the spread of conflict in Europe is not the only concern. Mysterious attacks 2 years ago on the Nord Stream gas pipeline sent prices soaring, highlighting the dangers of a hybrid war. We don't know how much time we have left to prepare, Swedish Civil Defense Minister Carl-Oskar Bolin said, noting that the upgrade is even more urgent because of the large distance between southern Sweden and the United States. Between consumption and production capacity compared to that in Europe. By the end of 2028, around 1,000 highly skilled Swedes will be called upon to help protect energy supplies as part of mandatory civic duty, a form of national service suspended after the Cold War and applied again this year. Stronger protective fences will be built and surveillance enhanced.